Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you a very special story. It is a story about a boy who discovered something that changed not only his life, but the life of his whole village. By the end of this video, you will understand why patience is not just waiting, but a real treasure. So stay with me until the end. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by green fields and gentle rivers, there lived a young boy named Aarav. Aarav was like many children, curious, full of energy, and sometimes a little restless. He wanted quick results in everything he did. If he was flying a kite, he wanted it to soar in the sky instantly. If he was learning something new, he wanted to master it in a single day. And if things didn't go his way, he grew upset and gave up too quickly. The villagers often smiled at him and said, "This boy has no patience." But Aarav's grandfather saw something different. He believed that one day Aarav would understand the power of waiting. He often told him, "Patience is not weakness, my child. Patience is hidden strength." At that time, Aarav did not understand. One warm summer morning, Aarav walked along the riverbank. The sun shone brightly, and the water sparkled like silver. Birds flew over the fields, and the air smelled of wet earth. There, sitting on a large rock, was an old man. He was carving strange symbols into a wooden stick. His face was calm, and his hands moved slowly, as though time itself had slowed down for him. Aarav stopped and asked curiously, "Grandfather, what are you doing?" The old man looked up, smiled, and whispered, "I am marking a place where treasure is buried. But listen carefully. Only the one who waits will find it." He pointed to the ground near the riverbank and said, "There." And then, without another word, he stood up and walked away. He never returned. Aarav stared at the ground. There was nothing, no chest, no coins, no jewels. Just mud, grass, and a quiet river flowing by. But something inside him said, "Stay." So Aarav did something no one expected. He decided to wait. The next day he returned. And the day after that. And then the day after that. He sat cross-legged on the grass, staring at the same patch of earth. Hours passed with nothing but the sound of birds and flowing water. At first, the villagers laughed at him. "What are you doing here, boy?" they teased. Aarav simply said, "I am waiting." His friends came and called him. "Come play with us, there's no treasure here." But Aarav shook his head. Something in his heart told him to stay. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. The seasons changed. The river rose and fell with the rains. The grass grew tall around him. The wind blew hard some days, soft on others. But every day, Aarav returned to the same spot. Sometimes he was tempted to dig. His hands itched to pull out the soil and check if something was hidden. But a small voice inside whispered, "No, the treasure is only for the one who waits." So he waited. His parents began to worry. "You are wasting your time, son," his father said. "Come help us in the fields." Aarav did help them. He worked, he carried water, he tended to the crops. But whenever he had free time, he went back to the riverbank. The villagers shook their heads. "Such a foolish child," they said. "He waits for nothing." Years passed. His friends grew taller. They learned new skills. They got married, built homes, and started families. But Aarav remained the boy by the river. Sometimes he doubted himself. He asked silently, "Am I wasting my life?" Maybe the old man was only joking. Doubt is heavy, isn't it? Have you ever waited for something so long that you started to question if it was worth it? That is how Aarav felt. But whenever he was close to quitting, he remembered the old man's eyes. They were calm, steady, and full of certainty. And so Aarav stayed. Then one night, everything changed. The sky grew dark, and heavy clouds covered the moon. Rain began to fall. Slowly at first, then harder, until the entire village was drowning in water. The river swelled and overflowed. Thunder roared and lightning lit the sky. People screamed and ran as houses collapsed and crops were destroyed. The earth trembled. The riverbank cracked. And the very ground Aarav had guarded for years split open. When the storm cleared the next morning, the villagers came to see the damage. They saw broken homes. They saw destroyed fields. They saw ruined wells filled with mud. But then at the place where Aarav had waited, something amazing appeared. From the broken earth, a spring of crystal-clear water bubbled up. It flowed endlessly into the river, pure and cold. The villagers gasped. They tasted the water. It was sweet, clean, and fresh. Their fields could grow again. Their children could drink again. It was not gold. It was not jewels. But it was life itself. They turned to Aarav. For years they had mocked him. For years they had laughed at him. But now they bowed their heads and said, "Because you waited, we now have water forever." Tears filled Aarav's eyes. His patience, once ridiculed, had saved his people. From that day, he was no longer just the boy by the river. He became the guardian of the spring. And long after he was gone, generations remembered him as the boy who had the courage to wait. So what is the treasure in this story? It was not gold. It was not silver. It was patience itself. Patience gave him strength when others laughed. Patience gave him hope when doubt whispered. And patience gave him a reward that lasted far longer than coins or jewels. When we rush, we often find quick answers. But those answers rarely last. When we wait, when we endure, we discover things others miss. Opportunities, friendships, success, sometimes even miracles. So I ask you, what are you waiting for in your own life? A dream, a change, a new beginning. Don't quit just because others doubt you. Don't abandon your journey because it feels slow. And don't dig up your seed before it has time to grow. Be like Aarav. Hold on. Wait with faith. Because one day, your patience will uncover a treasure no one else can see. Thank you for listening to this story. If it inspired you, share it with someone who needs this lesson. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more motivational tales from moral wisdom stories.